Tonight on Newswatch, a dangerous heat wave has some southeast Ohio communities reaching near record highs. Newswatch forecaster Emily Dietz has the latest. Plus, how community members are keeping themselves and their animals cool. And funds going to communities suffering from opioid addiction makes its way to southeast Ohio. Newswatch starts right now. Good evening, I'm Ariel Lyons. Welcome to Newswatch. All of southeast Ohio and northwest West Virginia is under a heat advisory. Newswatch forecaster Emily Dietz is live outside at Stroud's Run State Park with the latest. Emily?
Good evening. I'm here at Stroud's Run, and things are just now starting to sprinkle a little bit. We're seeing a little bit of cloud coverage, but just a few minutes ago, even a few hours ago, we've seen tons of people here at the beach taking out kayaks, taking out boats, trying to find a way to beat the heat. And I might dip my feet in the water here in just a minute. But right now in Athens, we're seeing temperatures around 92 with a heat index of about 102. And that humidity is just going to continue to go up as this rain starts to fall this evening. Now our advisory map is showing that we have a heat advisory across the state, stretching into West Virginia and Kentucky as well. And we're also seeing excessive heat warnings around Cincinnati, and we may even see these warnings stretch into the central Ohio and southeast Ohio later this evening and even into tomorrow, since tomorrow is going to be a hot day. Now, over the past 24 hours, we've had temps in the 90s, and last night it didn't really cool down much. We were still in the 70s. We saw an overnight low of about 75, and today we still see rising temperatures. Now we're taking a look at our live radar right now. As you may see, if you look out your window, some pop-up showers and thunderstorms. That's starting because we have a little bit of a cold front moving through that's just helping to spin up some of these storms, but they're not going to last very long. And even though we're seeing some thunderstorm warnings, even some thunderstorm watches, these are going to be relatively brief. We're not expecting any tornadoes or super strong winds or even hail to come out of these systems, so they're going to be relatively short-lived. Now, taking a look at our surface map, this gives us a really good indication of what's going on and why we're seeing some of the rain that we're seeing. So we have that low pressure system that we saw the other day that produced a lot of intense weather. That's now on the East Coast, producing a lot of rain and severe weather for them out there. But for us, we had a relatively cloudy day, and we have a cold front that's just sort of going to stay above us and actually move from the west over to the east and just ahead of that cold front. So in our area, that's going to pick up a little bit of this humid air and cause that to rise, which is causing the brief thunderstorms that we're starting to see right now.
There, Emily. And as dangerous heat continues to swelter the area, people across Athens County are finding ways to stay cool. Here in the city of Athens, people are trying their best to make the most of the sunshine, whether it be visiting local public pools or relaxing with a cold drink. The people of southeast Ohio are working hard to cool off. With several record temperatures broken over these last few weeks here in Athens, everybody has their own unique way of beating the heat.
I've been swimming quite a lot with some of my friends have pools, so I've been going there. That's really nice to cool off.
I just got back from the pool, actually.
Tanning is a good option.
The plug that you use your phone to turn on, so it's nice. I can, as soon as I leave work, I can turn my AC on and go home to a nice, cool apartment.
With the severe weather advisory currently in effect for southeast Ohio, with the heat index in the triple digits for certain parts of the state, many continue to find new ways to still enjoy summer festivities without getting too hot while outside. The Vinton County Fair kicked off on Monday in what is shaping out to be one of the hottest weeks of the year. Newswatch reporter Morgan Anderson is live at the fair with more on how the heat is affecting people and animals.
Thanks, Ariel. Right now it's 87 degrees, but feels like 95, so it is hot. This kind of temps haven't happened since 1930 for Vinton County. I talked to some of the fair goers to hear what they had to think about it.
From panting chickens to kids working in 90-plus degree barns.
It's hot, and I don't think I've ever sweated that much in my life.
Hot temperatures make for dangerous conditions. The Vinton County Fair is seeing a record-breaking high with the majority of the state under a heat advisory.
And we've had a few animals die in the rabbit poultry barn, and I think those are the only animals that have passed. And it's just, there's not enough air, they're getting too hot, they're overheating.
From the animal barns to the food vendors, absolutely everyone is feeling the heat and doing the best they can with it.
So we try to keep the windows closed so we can kind of keep things cool, but given that we do have a griddle in there, so it is hot. We have a smoker on the back porch, which is also hot. Well, most of the vendors like to keep the doors open, the windows open to keep the airflow moving through.
But the main solution is water, and lots of it for both animals and people alike.
I encourage water, make sure they got water, checking on them, getting them out, getting them in a bath, getting them in water.
If you get hot and you don't have money, come see me. We'll make sure that you get water, Gatorade, or something in you.
Kids say they're making it routine because with weather like this, it's life or death for their animals.
Every 20 minutes, we are constantly putting ice in their waters and spraying the backs of their neck.
Everyone and everything is just trying to find a way to beat the heat.
Luckily for the kids showing at the Vinton County Fair, the last thing on their to-do list is the livestock sale tomorrow night. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Morgan Anderson, live at the Vinton County Fair.
Thanks, Morgan. And it's not just Southeast Ohio feeling these hot temperatures. Around 150 million people nationwide are under heat alerts. That's about 45% of the U.S. population. The extreme heat threatens the nation's largest power grid and millions of lives. Mike Valerio has the latest.
Access to cooling is a matter of life and death.
Life-threatening heat now striking the Northeast.
New York City is now under an excessive heat warning.
In Northeast states where many places aren't built to beat extreme temperatures, the heat index is forecast to reach over 100 degrees, triggering emergencies in multiple states.
Heat kills more New Yorkers every year than any other kind of extreme weather event.
The number one weather-related killer is heat. 600 people die annually from its effects.
Blistering temperatures triggering an emergency for the nation's largest power grid, which supplies power to more than 65 million people across the Northeast and Midwest. The company, PJM, saying on its website, quote, a dedicated team of operators uses sophisticated technology to balance supply and demand and direct the power grid 24/7 from PJM's control rooms. In Arizona,
oh my God, this is hell on earth, I guess. It's just that hot. And this is probably the worst July we ever had.
25 people have now died from sweltering heat in Maricopa County. The Wildlife Center in Phoenix says lines have formed outside the intake windows as people come across animals falling victim to the city's record-breaking temperature streak.
Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Mike Valerio.
Coming up after the break, the Supreme Court rules the Mountain Valley Pipeline can continue construction. Plus, the ONEOHIO Foundation is providing funds to help communities struggling with opioid addiction.
Temperatures are increasing across the country, and we're looking at a chance of rain this Saturday. Stay tuned to Newswatch to figure out how this will impact you.
Welcome to the age of humans.
You can think of cities as the big petri dishes.
Go any city around the world that's plagued with rats. We are not winning this war.
Coyotes in the city.
They're here. They're going to stay here.
In Singapore, we decided to move the greenery upwards into the sky.
Can modern cities be transformed?
We can make them better, and we should make them better.
Yeah. Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
On Iconic America.
It represents determination, commitment to the future.
The Golden Gate Bridge is a potent symbol of America's ability to dream big.
People said this is dangerous.
There were over 2,000 lawsuits filed to stop the bridge.
We as Americans have the power and the ability and the talent to create marvels in this world.
Tuesday at 10 on WOUB.
The mysterious outer worlds. The solar system's strangest realm.
This is a region of the solar system that we really had very little information about.
small planet should run out of energy and stop evolving billions of years ago. Pluto didn't read any of those textbooks.
The planets, ice worlds, on Nova.
Wednesday at 10 on WOUB.
This is a detective story.
On Finding Your Roots, Harold Varmus.
My father's side's always been mysterious.
Shirley Ann Jackson.
He never told us anything, but maybe he didn't know a whole lot.
And Francis Cullen.
I'm really interested to find out what you can tell me.
3 science pioneers.
The reason I'm here is that my grandparents left.
Make new discoveries.
Never heard this story.
About their ancestry.
That's amazing.
Finding Your Roots.
Tuesday at 8 on WOUB.
A Zanesville man is facing life in prison after pleading guilty to murder charges. Cody Moody admitted to murder at the Muskingum County Court of Common Pleas. The 34-year-old was arrested earlier this month after he allegedly shot and killed Timothy Norris on June 22nd at a trailer on Culberson Road. Investigators determined that Moody murdered Norris in response to the death of Jordan Rivera. Rivera's body was found in a shed located on the same property a year ago. Moody will be sentenced at a later date. And construction of the controversial Mountain Valley Pipeline can resume. The Supreme Court granted an emergency request from backers of the project to allow construction to resume while legal challenges play out. The 300-mile-long pipeline would transport gas from West Virginia's Marcellus and Utica shale areas to Virginia. The pipeline would cross waterways and federal national forest lands, which is why it went through a complex environmental permitting process and led to multiple lawsuits. Former President Donald Trump's attorneys met with special counsel Jack Smith ahead of a potential third indictment. The former president faces an indictment related to his alleged efforts to overturn the 2020 election. Sources say Trump's lawyers hoped the meeting would delay any possible indictment in Smith's investigation. However, according to sources, Trump's legal team got no information about timing. The federal grand jury in the case also met today for the first time since last week. Trump got a letter from Smith last week indicating he's a target of the investigation. Target letters usually signal that a person is about to be indicted. Dangerous heat is continuing to impact millions across the country and right here at home. Joining us again from Stroud's Run State Park with more on this scorching heat and the possibility of some thunderstorms.
Good evening. I'm here at Stroud's Run, where we have been looking at people finding ways to beat the heat, whether that's swimming, boating, kayaking, or anything else. And I might go dip my feet in the water here pretty soon. But right now in Athens, Ohio, it's about 92 outside. 102, so it is pretty hot, and this rain that we're starting to see come up will just make things even muggier going on into this evening. Now we're seeing heat advisories across the state and in surrounding states into Kentucky and West Virginia, and down near Cincinnati we're seeing an excessive heat warning, and we may be seeing that warning push into southeast Ohio tomorrow, especially since we're having a lot more of that sunshine and heat move in. Now, if we're looking at the county heat map, focusing in on the Great Plains, we're seeing a lot of that heat really sitting in the Great Plains area up in the hundreds, the 99-degree temperature, and that warm air is just going to be moving on into Ohio tomorrow. So our heat index over in the west are over 110s, even in the 112s. And fortunately for us, we're not expecting our heat index or your feels like temperature to be that hot, but it will still be pretty warm, about 105. So right now we're also seeing some pop-up showers, and we're seeing a cold front, and that's what's influencing a lot of these showers, since that cold air is forcing this warm air to rapidly rise and just create these short-lived but rain thunderstorm showers. But that cold air, unfortunately, is not that cold.
Sorry, folks, it sounds like we lost Emily, but here I am, Newswatch reporter Connor Woodruff. And just to wrap up the weather segment here, so as Emily was saying, this cold front is influencing the way the weather is going to be turning out over the next few days. Now, moving on and looking into tonight, as you may know, we do have some thunderstorm warnings. We already have some rain going on right now. We are not sure if that's going to be cooling us down going ahead into all the fun festivities going on this weekend. As you know, heat index is up to triple digits around the state right now. So, as you can see, tonight we are expecting some possible harsh thunderstorms, and like I said, that may or may not influence how hot it is tomorrow. So, moving on, looking ahead to tomorrow, the high is looking like it's going to be about 97, hotter than today. So please be sure to drink plenty of water and to prepare with sunscreen, wear a hat maybe, and just plan your activities accordingly. And avoid strenuous activity because it's an easy way to get heat stroke or something bad like that. So moving on, so yeah, as Emily said, we do have this low pressure system that's going to be mucking about, causing a few issues, but however, we may not be getting any sort of cold. The cold front will not have a strong effect on what we'll be seeing tomorrow, unfortunately. Though, looking ahead over to the weekend, we could be getting some more rain as part of those low pressure systems which are developing. However, we'll learn more as we get closer. And looking ahead, as you can see, it's still going to be pretty hot this weekend, even though we have chances of showers. So back to you, Ariel.
Thanks, Connor. Meigs County is preparing to open its county fair in just over 2 weeks, despite some storm damage on the fairgrounds. Heavy winds during severe storms earlier this week tore off over half the roof of a barn used to house goats and rabbits. Meigs County Agricultural Society Vice President Tara Roberts says they'll be able to get the damage repaired fully before the fair starts. She says the damage won't get in the way of the fair starting on time. The county fair is set to run from August 14th to 19th. Lancaster Festival is happening this week, and last night it got a wee taste of Scotland. The Red Hot Chili Pipers are a rock band with an interesting addition, bagpipes. They took the stage at Ohio University Lancaster along with opening act House of Hamel. The Pipers are one of 3 marquee events in a week-long celebration of arts and culture. Outside of these performances include educational arts classes and a citywide art walk. The other 2 marquee events include Andy Grammer last week and Sheryl Crow this Saturday. After the break, we speak to the president of Harm Reduction Ohio about funds helping communities struggling with opioid addiction. And to stay up to date on the latest from Newswatch, check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
The mysterious outer worlds, the solar system's strangest realm.
This is a region of the solar system that we really had very little information about.
Small planet should run out of energy and stop evolving billions of years ago. Pluto didn't read any of those textbooks.
The planets, ice worlds, on Nova.
Wednesday at 10 on WOUB.
Next time on The Great American Recipe.
Prepare a dish that changed your life.
If there's any day to bet on yourself, today's the day.
I got this.
I know I need a win. My heart is racing.
This is the last time that we are all going to cook together.
We really have become like family.
It's time to announce the 3 home cooks who will compete in next week's finale.
On Iconic America.
It represents determination, commitment to the future.
The Golden Gate Bridge is a potent symbol of America's ability to dream big.
People said this is dangerous.
There were over 2,000 lawsuits filed to stop the bridge.
We as Americans have the power and the ability and the talent to create marvels in this world.
Tuesday at 10 on WOUB.
Welcome to the age of humans.
You can think of cities as the big petri dishes.
Go any city around the world that's plagued with rats. We are not winning this war.
Coyotes in the city.
They're here. They're going to stay here.
In Singapore, we decided to move the greenery upwards into the sky.
Can modern cities be transformed?
We can make them better, and we should make them better.
Yeah.
Wednesday at 9 on WOUB.
The first few rounds of the ONEOHIO opioid settlement funds have been distributed. These funds are meant to help battle the opioid crisis. Newswatch reporter Caleb McCleskey talked with Harm Reduction President Dennis Kushon about where these funds are going.
So Dennis, how would you say the opioid crisis has impacted the state of Ohio?
Most importantly, in a level of death, accidental death, that's really unprecedented. 30, 40,000 people dying, accidental deaths in the last 10 to 15 years, which leaves tens of thousands of children who are orphaned, parents who have lost children, spouses who have lost their spouses.
Yeah, and then has there been an impact on educational systems and health departments in the state of Ohio?
The impact has been really across the board to all institutions. Health departments have been especially stressed because they're the ones whose job it is to prevent overdose death, distributing naloxone, running syringe service programs, et cetera, and just caring for people struggling with opioids. Also, schools have had to deal with a lot of children who don't have the usual family support structure. If a parent has died, you don't have the parent who normally cares for that child. So it's kind of an untethered group of young people that's challenging to deal with.
Yeah, and then can you explain to me the process of determining where funds are allocated and then what determines these funds from a population standpoint?
So the $2 billion is divided up by hundreds, 1,000 local governments. Ohio got $2 billion overall because our overdose death rates have been so high. 30% of it is, or 600 million, is going directly to 700, 800 local governments, township trustees, county commissioners, local city councils. And that money has already started to flow. 15% is going directly to the state government. What that's being spent for, we don't really know yet. And then 55% is going to a government-created nonprofit that is spending the money, and that's controlled by political appointees, mostly county commissioners, who have appointed people to the 29-member of the board. The governor's made appointments, attorney general, and legislators too.
And then with all this money coming to the state, what are these funds supposed to be used for?
Supposed to be used for evidence-based opioid remediation, or another thing, anything that has been scientifically shown to have an effect in reducing addiction or overdose death. That would include naloxone, syringe service programs, addiction treatment, helping pregnant mothers, helping families themselves, and other things like that. There's sort of a 15-page list of suggestions. You can go beyond those suggestions if there's evidence showing that they're valuable. But the settlement really has sort of like a good list of core strategies that are supposed to be executed.
And then how do you think you can encourage the population that these funds can make a difference for the state of Ohio?
I would encourage anyone who's been impacted by opioids to go talk to their local governments and say, how's this money being spent? This is what we think should happen to it. We are the impacted population. Please involve us in your decisions.
And then do you think these funds can make an impact for the region of Southeast Ohio?
I do think they can make an impact for Ohio, and especially Southeast Ohio, because Southeast Ohio is getting more per capita than any other region because it's suffered so much loss to overdose death. So a significant amount of money is flowing in over 10, 15 years. So there'll be sustained support. And if spent wisely, big if, it can really make a difference.
And where would you say would be some of the best places for people to find more information about this?
Our website is probably harmreductionohio.org is probably the best place where we will identify how much your local government is getting, how much has been paid out. You can also go to the foundation's website itself, which is ONEOHIOFoundation.com.
All right, Dennis, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Over the next 18 years, the ONEOHIO opioid settlement funds will be distributed to local governments and regions around the state of Ohio. When we return, we take another look at your weather. But first, here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
on iconic America.
It represents determination, commitment to the future.
The Golden Gate Bridge is a potent symbol of America's ability to dream big.
People said this is dangerous.
There were over 2,000 lawsuits filed to stop the bridge.
We as Americans have the power and the ability and the talent to create marvels in this world.
Tuesday at 10 on WOUB.
Next time on The Great American Recipe.
Prepare a dish that changed your life.
If there's any day to bet on yourself, today's the day.
I got this. I know I need a win.
My heart is racing.
This is the last time that we are all going to cook together.
We really have become like family.
It's time to announce the 3 home cooks who will compete in next week's finale.
Here's what's new this month with Passport.
Will, this changes everything.
That's every blues singer in the country was doing that.
In the 1960s, hip-hop became our voice.
Draw your arrow to the head!
These and all your favorite shows are available with Passport. Support your PBS station and stream more with Passport on the PBS app.
The Animals with Cameras adventure continues in Australia, where some of the country's most iconic creatures take over filming.
Now, the big test will be, what shots do we get?
The footage could hold vital information for scientists trying to safeguard these animals.
By getting video footage, we might be able to unravel this mystery and figure out what they're doing.
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
Welcome back. The severe heat today is only expected to get worse tomorrow. Joining us for another look at your weather is Newswatch forecaster Emily Dietz, live at Stroud's Run State Park.
Good evening. We're here at Stroud's Run, where today turned out to be a hot day, and people are finding ways to beat the heat, swimming, boating, doing all the activities. And now we're starting to see a little bit of cloud coverage, which could lead into some pop-up showers later this evening. But throughout the day today, we saw that heat just sort of rise up. We're actually starting to see some heat advisories. So taking a look at our warning map, we're seeing some heat advisories across the state and in the surrounding states in Kentucky and West Virginia. We're looking at an excessive heat warning around Cincinnati, and we may be seeing that warning area start to expand as we move throughout the night tonight and especially into tomorrow. Tonight, we're going to see temperatures still in the 70s, so it's going to be another warm, muggy night. And the rain that we're starting to see today will be putting a little bit of moisture into the air, making for some muggy conditions. Tomorrow, we're looking at thunderstorms possible early in the morning, and that's just going to be leftover from what we're seeing today. So we had a very small cold front sitting right above us, and that cold air scooted down into southeast Ohio and caused the warm, muggy air to rise up, convect, and created these very short-lived thunderstorms that we're still continuing to see. We might see into tomorrow morning, but by the afternoon, things will start to clear up, and we're looking at a high of about 96 with a heat index of 105, so it's going to be a hot day. Now, Saturday, clouds will start to roll in late morning, early in the afternoon. Starting around 3 p.m., we might see a chance of scattered thunderstorms, which will continue for the rest of the night. So if you're planning on going to any of the fairs or festivals happening this weekend, make sure you're finding plenty of ways to stay cool, because this weekend is looking like a hot one. Friday, once again, it's going to be extremely hot outside, that high of 96 with a UV index of about 10, and that heat index is going to be about 105. Saturday, once again, another hot day. But on Sunday, we're going to see a little bit of cooling happen since we've had that rain move through on Saturday. And that'll bring us back down into the 80s, and we'll start to see some cloudy skies going on the rest of this week. So make sure you have a great weekend. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water and stay safe.
Thanks, Emily. That does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. For Emily Dietz, I'm Arielle Lyons. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime on WOUB.org or follow us on social media. Have a great night.
Support comes from Goldsberry Wealth Strategies in Athens and Parkersburg, focusing on helping people achieve a life well lived with a custom strategy. Information at goldsberrywealth.com. Raymond James Financial Services Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC.